In the United States, there are currently 5.5 million young adults ages 18 to 24 who are unemployed, not in school, and this multicultural talent pool of untapped potential is known as Opportunity Youth.
To talk about this, we are joined by Jeffery Wallace. He is the president and CEO of LeadersUp. We thank you so much for joining us today and really appreciate your time. So you've been described as a next-gen social engineer. Explain what that means and how it relates to the movement that we're seeing unfolding in the last few days.
Oh, absolutely. When we think about America and the systemic oppression and racism that is actually the rioting and protesting is symptomatic of, it's incumbent upon us to really look at how our education system, our workforce development system, how corporate America, how these systems actually drive inclusion that is anti-racist. And today we are faced with a number of different civil unrest across the nation, because at the end of the day, the people of this country are saying we are no longer going to accept racist systematic oppression. So a social entrepreneur and innovator is really figuring out how can we innovate inclusive solutions on the ground to drive how our systems and society actually operate to be more inclusive.
So what are you hearing from the people who you are supporting and who are looking to you for guidance in Leadership Up? How do you actually get some traction?
Well, I think the big thing is doing a lot of listening around the country. We have heard young adults say, the 70% of the young adults that we served, and we've impacted over 50,000, are saying that, one, we have either lost our job or we are in fear of losing our job. So this data in itself is saying that America and its future next generation of talent is really concerned around economic opportunity. They're providing for their median household income in a significant way. And therefore, we're not just talking about them, but we're talking about their families. So economic opportunity and being able to connect young people to employers in corporate America and in the public sector that themselves are anti-racist, that, leverage inclusion as a strategy in order to recruit and advance talent is what young people are really looking for. They're looking for employers that will stand up for what's right, but also operationalize those behaviors and how they engage their talent base.
How have you gotten support from different companies, different organizations like the African American Board Leadership Institute? How does that work as part of the solution?
Well, when we think about the African American Board Leadership Institute, it's essential to what we need to tackle if we're going to advance an anti-racist agenda across corporate America and the public sector as well. Ably develops leaders to ensure that African Americans have a position in the governance infrastructure of a corporate institution or other public institutions. And that's significant when we think about corporate America and diversification on boards, and why diversity in boards allow us to really hold companies to another level of accountability, but also to another level of competitiveness. We understand that diversity and inclusion is a competitiveness driver for companies globally. So their anti-racism and an anti-racist approach to running a business is all a competitiveness strategy. Ably is essential to developing the leadership pipeline to ensure that more African Americans are on boards governing how both corporate and public institutions interact with our community.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that is massively important, because then your voice is heard all over, and so many of the decision factors will be taken into consideration. But talking about diversity and inclusion, are there certain companies that you know that really do this, or do you have these companies who may be struggling with trying to diversify their workforce coming to you for guidance as well?
No, absolutely. I mean, the big thing that we hear and have heard for decades now is I can't find the talent. So at LeadersUp, we really work with corporations to ensure that we can help them grow the talent, whether that's through internship programs and pipeline strategies, direct hiring, but also ensuring that they facilitate a culture of inclusion from their management all the way through the practices that they incorporate. So there's a number of companies that are doing practices like fair chance employment that ensures that as a corporate citizen, you're participating in dismantling the industrial prison complex. There are companies that understand that race is inextricably tied to income inequality. So therefore, they're providing wealth development benefits like student loan debt relief and helping individuals build and grow their buy their first homes. So there's a number of different strategies that companies can employ in order to, one, assert and operationalize their anti-racist position, but also LeadersUp is here to help those companies build that infrastructure. Because it's one thing to make a statement, and we've seen many companies across the nation make statements on social media platforms. It's great to make a statement, but now from an anti-racist perspective, we're asking for leadership and allyship. So how are you really operationalizing those strategies? If you're on a board, is that board ensuring that the diverse supplier goals are being met? Because you're growing businesses of color that will then hire and invest in communities of color. This is where we want to see action from corporate America, ensuring that anti-racist values are at the core of corporate citizenship in America moving forward.
How do you teach people, perhaps business leaders, about these biases that many of us don't even know we have? Do you educate them on that sort of thing too?
Absolutely. We've worked with a number of companies in their recruitment strategies to ensure that we extract the implicit biases from their recruitment strategies. We've worked with companies to do targeted development strategies where they're going into communities to really learn more about those communities and then recruit from that perspective and building a diverse and full pipeline. We're also working with managers because at the end of the day, we know that the frontline leadership of a company is really the frontline visual that an employee has around the values of that company. So ensuring that employers and managers and supervisors are able to coach from an inclusive standpoint. So there's a myriad of strategies across recruiting, retaining, and advancing talent that companies can actually integrate into their strategies to be more competitive, but also, again, to ensure that they are operationalizing this commitment to anti-racism that they're publicly stating in moments like this.
Well, to do the great work that you're doing, the youth has to find you. So how do they get in touch with you? What are the steps they need to take?
They can reach out to LeadersUp on Instagram. Our Instagram is leaders_up. Our Twitter is LeadersUp. And that is the best way for you to reach us, either on Facebook, Instagram, or at our website, www.leadersup.org.
All right, we're going to put that on our website. And best of luck to you, and thank you for all the great work you're doing, and you stay safe out there. Jeffery Wallace,
Thank you so much. Stay safe as well.
Thank you. Jeffery Wallace, President and CEO of LeadersUp.
Good stuff you're doing. All right.